Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have kironJ Gardner who will lead us in meditation. Then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we'll open it up for sharing and we end at 10:45. Over to you, kironJ.
Thank you very much, Dan. Hello, everybody. It's very, very lovely to be back in this arena again. And our focus today is on love. Special love is the ego's most boasted gift. And so it's likely in our healing journey that we will be tempted again and maybe again and maybe again by this seeming gift of the ego. And yet the Course is very clear. The only love is God's love. And I'm going to read the first 3 paragraphs of lesson 127, which is, there is no love but God's. And I hope it really supports us to open further and further to the meaning and the gifts of the only love there is, and choose to let go of the shabby substitutes. So maybe you'd like to close your eyes now. Let's open our minds to spirit together. And receive this supreme teaching, healing teaching on love. Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind of love for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergences and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of his Son. Love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. He does not see that changing love must be impossible. And thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the Son of God in separate parts. Love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. Its meaning lies in oneness, and it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but God's, and all of love is his. There is no other principle that rules where love is not. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the Father and the Son, which holds them both forever as the same. Let's go into the silence, contemplating love is one.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 20 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. If you'd like to ask kironJ a question or a comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Anthony.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kiron. What a wonderful and amazing subject that you've given us to think about. It raises so many incredible questions, which went through my mind the last few minutes. I won't show you too many questions, but I always wonder when I think about this subject of oneness and of true love as opposed to special love, just why do we choose to come here, really, and into a world of separation where the default switch seems to be separation and hatred? That's question number one.
Hello, Anthony. Thank you for your question. And this is the question that everybody asks, maybe many, many times. And the Course says there's no adequate answer that will satisfy us. There are many ways of giving partial answers. I think the most meaningful one for me is the Course's instruction: seek for the experience. Then the questions fall away. Because the person asking the question, the mind asking the question, is listening to the ego thought system, believing. If you didn't have a belief that you were Anthony, you wouldn't be asking the question. And the belief in Anthony is the problem, but also the mind's desire. So it doesn't really want to hear an answer. I'm not talking at the Anthony level. I'm sure as Anthony, you'd like an answer. But the mind identifying with Anthony wants the face of innocence, wants to be a good spiritual student. What's the answer? What am I doing here? But it doesn't actually want an answer. And the last part of this, things for you to contemplate, things for us all to contemplate. The foundation of A Course in Miracles is the atonement principle, which states the separation never happened. So we are within a bubble of illusion, really trying to justify the illusion and asking pseudo questions to back up our choice for illusion. We're not here. Amazing, isn't it? The world never happened. No differences, no specialness. It's a complete fantasy, the whole thing. And within that fantasy, questions are being asked. So it's mind-boggling stuff, I would suggest. But seek the experience. Practice the holy instant. Practice opening the mind beyond the bubble of illusion. And then we get the answer we're truly looking for.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. Can I ask another question? I without wanting to hog the time here, but my perception is that even when you're back home and not in the physical world, the law of attraction still seems to be the blueprint of the cosmos in terms of the vibration, and like is attracted to like. Therefore, I was just thinking a few minutes ago that isn't that also to some degree a world of separation too? Because if there's attraction within the greater oneness of everything, then surely we're seeking specialness there too, or?
Well, again, briefly, because you ask deep and penetrating questions, the oneness that the Course is talking about is nothing to do with the cosmos, nothing to do with physicality. It is the realm of heaven, the realm of spirit, that is a oneness joined as one. Beautiful way of the Course is saying it. And one of the ego tactics is to say, oh, you can have oneness, that's fine. All this is one. And to an extent, it's true in that it's one illusion. Illusions are illusions are illusions, but they're false. So looking for oneness within the realm of illusion is just a red herring. And of course, it's all built on differences. No oneness to be found. Only when the mind opens beyond the illusion and sees the illusion as serving one purpose. And that we are one in that we have the same interest in awakening out of the dream when we listen to the Holy Spirit.
Thank you. Wow.
You're welcome.
Very much.
You're welcome.
Dennis, did you want to comment?
It's better. Thank you, Karen. As
Hi,
soon as
Dave.
you mentioned the word love, the quote from the Course came in, there is no love but God's, and love is all there is, there is. And the other one came in was a quote from Charles Chaplin. He said, the most frustration of all emotions is love, because once you find it, there's no words to explain it. And my own personal one is, at the end of the days and our days when we're about to die, there is only love left, isn't there?
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for your thoughts. Indeed, love is all there is, and love is all that's important to us in truth and illusion. If you think about this world, it's all about love. Think of pop songs, think of movies, films, think of books. The subtext is always love. It's always people falling out of love, finding love, regretting what they didn't do for love. All of it at the worldly level, though, is special love, and it isn't love. So the ego is very, very ingenious in confusing the idea of love. We have one word, love, the God's love and special love. So in our thinking, it can get very mixed up what love is. We're always, always focused on love. But it's special love or God's love. And we come to realize that special love isn't love at all. It's hate and attack, bargaining and compromise, taking. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Evelyn, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, everybody, and good morning,
Evelyn.
kironJ. Lovely to see you.
You too.
I wanted to thank you. Wanted to ask you what that lovely reading is from. I've heard you read that before, I'm sure.
Quite likely, it is a beautiful lesson. It's 127, lesson 127, and it's page 230 in the workbook.
Thank you very much, kironJ.
And the whole lesson, of course, is superb teaching on love.
Yes, 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 it's magnificent. Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's completely life-changing and mind-changing if we pay good attention to what this is saying. It knocks every worldly experience off the map.
Yes.
And then we're left with, how do I proceed now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to Ireland next week, just for about 5 or 6 days. But I think I know the one. Just a small piece I'll take with me. I'll photocopy that page and their pages, and yeah, I think I need that with me always.
Yeah, really, really good to hear. Thanks, Evelyn.
Thank you, kironJ.
Who would like to share? Lottie and then Norman.
I was left with something huge. But at the beginning, the title of the lesson is There is no love but God's. And my contemplation brought me to wiping out all those other loves. And then to the sense that that created space. And into that space flowed the enormity of God's love. It was just huge and so lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lottie. Thank your mind for choosing that experience, that miracle. Yeah. Course says one thing that's you can say about special love is it involves a great amount of pain. If we really look, there's so much misery in special love. And if we can be persuaded to put it aside, as you've just done right now, we are left with something so different, so magnificent. We will really see the truth of the Course's teaching, that special love is a shabby substitute for the real thing. Thanks so much, Lottie.
Norman?
Yes, thank you very much. My question is, when I read lesson 41, it said this was going to be the first time you were going to attempt something different. And it certainly was. And ever since then, I have become aware that the closer and closer, it mentions going through clouds and all sorts of things, but I always end up in the same place, total quiet and beautiful, beautiful coloured objects, I suppose that's the closest I can explain them, mostly gold, all of different shapes. And I'm not sure whether I'm floating through them or they're floating through me. And occasionally solid type colours, vivid colours. And ever since then, it's always been the same. It hasn't changed. And I'm just wondering, I know it's the presence of God, but I'm just wondering, you know, there's so many different shapes and sizes of these golden objects. You know, is this everybody else as well?
Thank you, Norman. Our healing journey will take us from experiences of so many shapes and sizes, different forms. You look at the world, look around the room that you're in now. So many different things, seeming to serve so many different purposes. Our split mind has adapted to dealing with millions, billions of bits of information, shapes, sizes, objects, purposes. And none of this is natural to our true mind, which is only one, which is abstract, doesn't deal with bits of information and objects at all. And so it's quite a leap to go from specific, concrete thinking, objects, different purposes, different entities, shapes, sizes, forms, to oneness. No shapes, sizes, forms, no concepts, no physicality, no differences, no distinctions. And on this journey from one place to the other, if you can say it like that, we may go through many, many experiences that seem confusing. The mind lifting its attention from the physicality and the specific more and more in the direction of the abstract, the eternal, the formless, which is our true mind, which is God, which is love. So I would offer you to keep with your intention, if that's what you have, to open to the truth, to open to God, to open to love, capital L, and accept all the experiences that might be confusing as part of the natural, or the normal, it's not natural really, but the normal process of the healing of our mind. It's a great ego trap to become fascinated with part of the journey. Oh, that's happened. Why? Why has that happened? Oh, that was interesting. That was beautiful. Oh, I had a vision. What does that mean? I'm special. All this kind of thing. To be acknowledged, yeah, it's part of the healing process, but don't get fixated on it. I'm not saying you are normal. I'm talking more generally now. If we have experiences, let's just remember where we're coming from, the ego, where we're going to, God. Big difference. Lots of shifts. Let's keep going. Let's keep with our single purpose, because that is what will get us there. I hope that's helpful.
Who would like to share? Jim, take yourself off mute.
Yes, thank you, kironJ. Lovely reading. In fact, you just mentioned remembering our single purpose. And in the meditation, somebody came to mind who I find it difficult to see as the Holy Son of God. And I got into the usual trap of trying to do the forgiveness process, of seeing the person as a mind, as a mind that is one with me, and do this. But then I remembered, really, it's about connecting again with the Holy Spirit, not trying to do something, but simply remembering my relationship with the Holy Spirit. And that did, that was it. It was simply a remembering of the truth, rather than a process of forgiveness. And that sort of fitted in so nicely with what you read for us today. Thank you.
Mm. Oh, thank you so much, Jim. Very, very deep thinking there. We can indeed come to a stage in our healing journey, in our healing process, when all we need is to practice the holy instant, joining with the Holy Spirit. That's it. And in that decision, that ability to open and really desire the truth, our mind is shifting. A miraculous shift is occurring in our state of mind that will automatically, de facto, change our human experience without thinking directly of our human experience. It was, oh, okay, I'm not upset about that anymore. Or, oh, they're being friendly now when they were being an iceberg before. Oh, that's good. It can be as easy and simple as that. However, maybe for a very long time, we need to look at the specifics. That person really irritates me. What's going on? Practicing forgiveness. Because that irritation, that upset, that hatred, that whatever it is going to be something unforgiven in our minds. Nothing to do with them. We've just splattered them with our projection of guilt, our projection of separation trauma. And our healing is to withdraw that projection. And that absolutely needs to happen, and may still happen right through the healing process, even when it's becoming more and more centered on living in the holy instant. just opening to the Holy Spirit. And the way to discern what's needed, where am I, what do I need to do, practice joining. That will show everything that's needed for the healing of the fragment of the mind that's dreaming it's this person.
Yes, thank you, kironJ. Thank you.
Okay, we've come to the top of our time together. Thank you so much, kironJ. That was a wonderful, it's like a mini workshop. So appreciate Take yourself off mute
Welcome.
and show
It was
your appreciation.
wonderful.
kironJ.
Lovely,
Thank you, Karen.
Love you.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you
you,
all.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Joyful time.